Do you want to smash your next sales meeting with an agenda that gets real results? I'm Corinne, the MD of Ethical Sales, and I'm here with Chris Watts, one of our senior sales consultants. Now, Chris, you are working as a BDM, an outsourced BDM for a number of our clients at the moment. Can you tell me what's been going on for you recently?
So, as well as supporting these clients with their outreach and business development, I often sitting on meetings that I've booked for them, just to see how the meeting's going, bring any of my insights to it from previous conversations I've had with those targets, but also to give them some feedback on their sales process and different adjustments they can make to get more out of the meeting. Now, this is a issue that I see in sales for as long as I've been in sales. Not just with my current clients, etc. But we often go into sales meetings thinking that we've done most of the hard work by getting there in the first place. We spend a lot of time setting up the meeting, and then we can get there and we can sometimes think, right, my job here is to present and tell them everything I know about my product, and their job is to be impressed by it and move forward with it. But we can't always do that if we don't know exactly what the customer expects out of the meeting. Now, we all have expectations going into a meeting. We know what we want to achieve. So that can be, I want the customer to start stocking my product. I want the customer to introduce me to the next level of decision maker, whatever your objectives are. But the client doesn't always know what those are. They don't necessarily know why you're there for the meeting. I think sometimes the issue as well is that we don't know what they want from the meeting. We just assume they want to be sold to. And what this can often result in is a fantastic presentation with lots of head nodding and people making the right noises. And we get to the end of the meeting, everyone goes, that was really great, thank you very much. We'll be in contact in the future. And that's the end of the meeting. Nothing's been committed to, gained, or anything out of there. And how many of us have had those conversations after a meeting when we recap, where everyone goes, how'd it go? Yeah, I think it went really well.
What's the result? Yeah, and I think it's amazing. I think you're right about getting excited about landing the meeting in the first place. You know, how many times have we been told, oh, just get us a meeting, we can do the rest. Yeah. And then when you sit in on some of those meetings, you realize that there are some really, there are some real challenges around how they're structuring them and not being able to move the conversation forward. So yeah, what are the three key things that you suggest, Chris, in terms of how to structure a sales meeting to get the most out of it?
I'll try and keep it to three as best as I can. I think one of the things is don't be scared to ask and don't be scared to tell. So start your meetings off with obviously introducing yourself, getting to know the people in the room, maybe a little brief on your product. But before you go even start telling anything about your product, find out what the customer wants to know. Why have they got you in this meeting? What is it they need to know by the end of the meeting? Like, some of them will just turn around and say, I just want an overview of your product. Some will turn around and say, actually, I'm struggling with this at the moment. I'm looking for something that can deal with this problem. Once you've got an answer like that, you can focus in on that and you can make sure that you deliver that throughout the meeting. So you make it clear to the customer what you expect or are hoping to get out of the meeting. They tell you what they are hoping to get out of the meeting. And then what you can do is you have license to say, okay, so I'm going to take you through this. If I can show you all of these points, do you think we can do X, Y, Z, whatever it is that I am requesting out of the meeting? Most of the time, customers are going to say, absolutely, of course, because nobody wants an invaluable meeting. Everybody wants a meeting to deliver purpose that they're looking for. So go through your presentation, refer back to those points throughout. When you get to the end of the meeting, do your questions, etc., and then say, right, at the start of this meeting, I said that I wanted to show you this, this, and this in the hope that this would happen. You said that if I showed you this, that, and that we could do that. Do you feel I've shown you those things? Customers are even going to say yes or no. If they said yes, that is your license to move straight forward into securing actions for the next step in the sales process. If they say no, all that means is you've missed something and you have to go back and either requalify that question with the customer or reiterate the details to match that. Once you've got that license to say and you've got that buy-in to move forward to the next step, make sure that you set actions assigned to individuals in the room, and also contingencies for if things don't go well. So yep, next Friday I'm going to speak to my director, and we'll be able to have this conversation and see if we can get your product on the list or something like that. Okay, what happens if you can't speak to X person on Friday? How do we make sure that this keeps moving forward? So at the end of that, what you have done is you set up your meeting with clear outcomes and objectives for both you and the client, so that everyone can have their needs met in the conversation. By meeting those needs and doing what you said you would do, you then have the license to move this on to the next step in your sales process. And then by setting key actions and contingencies, just in case things don't quite go to plan, you've then set a definitive path towards those steps as well. So then from this, you work away going, yes, I delivered everything I needed to for that customer. I told them everything I needed to, and I know exactly what's going to happen next.
Brilliant. Thank you, Chris. That's really, really helpful, I think. I think it's very, very easy to go into a sales meeting without an agenda, but even more easy is to completely ignore what it is the buyer needs to get from the conversation. And I think by getting that out on the table, and I know we've talked a bit about this before in our own team meetings, is not shying away from that, not shying away from the real reasons that they're there, because that is what will give you the license to move things forward. It will also help you essentially to qualify that customer or buyer into somebody whether they're worth following up with, are they worth spending time on, because you're going to discover in the meeting whether they're, you know, really serious or it really meets their needs, or if it doesn't. And I think both of those outcomes are equally valuable, aren't they? Because we can waste a lot of time chasing, we can waste a lot of time having lots of meetings, basically. So and I really like what you say about the setting up actions at the end of the meeting. So being clear that, you know, you're going away with something, but so is the customer or the buyer, and then also contingency. And I think what that then provides us with as salespeople is the confidence to move forward and keep pushing that relationship forward, because you can refer back to what was agreed in the meeting, which is really powerful. Well, thanks, Chris. I think that has been really, really helpful. And I hope that that's given you all a framework to work with when you next run your sales meetings. If you feel like you need any support, any training or coaching or outsourced business development support, then please get in touch with us. You might get to work with the amazing Chris here. I would love to just have a quick chat with you about your sales challenges, see if we could help. So all the details are in the comments below. Thanks, Chris. That was brilliant.
No, thank you.
See you soon.
See ya.